Hello, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the J Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Nowakowski, and if you're watching on YouTube, I am joined by not one, but two guests today. I'm joined by my amazing girlfriend, Alissa Schoepflin. She's here. Say hello.
Oh, hi.
And then I'm also joined by everyone's favorite guest, George Martin.
I thought you were going to say joined by two half hoopers, and I was like, uh-oh.
No. George, I heard it. I heard on TH Hoopers what's going on, and you know what? You're promoted. You are a full-time hooper from the J Sports. Yep.
Let's do it.
You're no longer the half hooper. For right now, you're the full-time hooper. So, yeah.
Boom.
Yes.
Let's do it.
So today is one of the best days. And this is one of my favorite days. It was opening day today for the MLB. I listened to a couple of games today. Dodgers game just ended a little while ago. Took the L to Colorado, but hey, next game up, you got Trevor Bauer on the mound. Not too worried. But I mean, George, and I'll just ask you this real quickly. Out of all the sports opening day events, is opening day your favorite, or you have other ones ahead of that?
You just mean in terms of all sports opening days?
All sports. Yeah, all sports opening days.
Ooh, I don't know. I might have NFL slightly ahead, only because I'm a big fantasy football guy, and it's just all day, especially when I watch Red Zone and Scott Hansen's 7 hours commercial-free football, and I'm like, let's go. NBA isn't as good because there's usually only a few games, two or three, but MLB, it's all day. Because I woke up and I'm like, oh my God, game's already on. So yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, I put it's a close one, NFL and MLB. I put MLB a little bit ahead just because I don't know, there's just always just different energy with football. I guess there's sometimes that, but
yeah,
not really. But NBA, there's only 3 or 4 games. Same with NHL. But yeah, so today MLB season started. So we're doing our MLB season preview because I had a busy weekend. And so, yeah, we're just going to do it today, even though half of the games are over for the day, but that's okay. Today there's actually supposed to be every team in the league was supposed to play. But unfortunately, the Red Sox and Orioles got rained out. And then the Nationals and Mets have COVID issues in the Nationals organization. So their season's starting off great for the Nationals because, yeah, I thought we were past that, but apparently we're
I know it happened. It happened last season too with the Marlins right out the gate. So hope it's not as widespread.
Yeah, hopefully. And so we'll see when the Nationals get their season underway. And same with the Mets. I know people were waiting for Lindor's debut, especially after that new contract he got less than 24 hours ago. But we're going to give our season preview, and we're going to start off. The beginning is going to be all Dodgers talk.
Let's do it.
All Dodgers talk. So if you don't want to hear us talk all about the Dodgers, skip ahead, but I'd listen to us. But we get some people who aren't Dodger fans here. Anyways, so the Dodgers, the reigning World Series champions, bolstered up their roster, adding Cy Young Award winner Trevor Bauer to the starting rotation. And they added a few bullpen arms, Corey Knebel, the most notable one that they added. They did lose Kike Hernandez and Jock Peterson, but were able to keep Justin Turner on the team. But George, how did you think the Dodgers offseason went?
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect to add a Cy Young arm, and I think one of the more, I wouldn't say underrated moves, but one of the more quiet moves, I guess, was bringing back David Price, because he obviously didn't play last season because he opted out. That was just as big, in my opinion, as getting Trevor Bauer. It's another arm to the starting or pen rotation, which the Dodgers have always had bad pen problems in the postseason. Thankfully, last season it wasn't as bad. And then adding Knebel. Is Tommy Connell healthy, or whatever his name is?
We signed him to a 2-year deal. He's out this whole season with Tommy John.
Okay, that's what I thought. But he's also another arm for next season. Yeah, but you have Urias can be a pen guy. We saw he close out the World Series last season. Gonzalez is a great arm in the postseason too. So I thought the moves were fine, and you bring another Cy Young guy to the starting rotation. It's great.
Yeah, Liz, Are you excited for Trevor Bauer to be a Dodger?
I'm excited. I mean, I haven't really seen him pitch a lot. I mean, I've seen the incredible one when he's only pitching with one eye open.
Yep.
Was that
That
correct?
was his
I
spring training
think that's
method.
amazing. But I feel like I like him for now. I like him more of as a person like off the field. I feel like he's going to be a great addition to the team. I think the Dodgers are going to go far, especially with him on the team now.
Yeah, Bauer, he's got his own YouTube channel and he's very strong worded. He loves Twitter, but I'm excited for him to be on the team. That was the big name, the big splash for the Dodgers this past offseason, but throughout spring training, they had a lot of, I think, surprises. Some guys clutch up in spring training and earn a roster spot through the way they played this spring training. George, who was one guy who played really well in spring training that surprised you?
One name that surprised me a lot was DJ Peters. I saw his name pop up a lot, but I'm actually going to go with a guy who I guess really shouldn't have surprised us, but Corey Seager was just a tank in spring training. 8 home runs. He led plate appearances, total bases hits, RBIs. I mean, he was the clear MVP of spring training for us. So I know it's not like the surprise no-name guy who might get a spot, but in the games I couldn't watch on my phone, I'd just be getting like Corey Seager RBI home run on my phone, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy's a tank.
Yeah. Seager had a really good spring. Hopefully he can carry that into the season after winning the World Series MVP trophy, and he had a great spring. Hopefully he can carry it on. Liz, was there any particular player that played well during spring training for you?
I mean, I'm just going to have to go with the obvious, the same as George's, Seager's. I think he was so incredible. And I think comparing last season, I mean, it was a very short season. So I think comparing it now with it being longer, I think it's going to be a great season for him.
Yeah, I hope he can pick it up. I will not pick it up. I hope he can keep it up for a full 162 because he was on pace to have a really great season. And I just hope, I mean, that's a lot of questions with, I mean, almost every team is can they sustain it for 162 after playing 60? I'll go different from you guys. Corey Seager did have a great spring, but one of the ones that really, I guess, surprised me was Jimmy Nelson.
Yeah.
He pitched today. He did not pitch particularly well today, unfortunately, when I thought this out. But overall in spring training, he didn't have an ERA, so he didn't give up any runs.
Wow.
He went. That's so weird. He went 1-1 with no ERA.
So it must have been 0-0 when he came out then, he got a loss.
Huh. Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, yeah, but he had a great spring, earned a roster spot in the bullpen. He's another guy because this Dodgers rotation is so deep that he's someone that if someone wants an extra day off, you can throw him out to start. You really have 3 guys in the Dodgers bullpen that can do that. You have Gonsolin, you have Price, and now you have Jimmy Nelson, who, if Kershaw, Buehler, Bauer say, I just need an extra day, you throw them out, and you still have a good chance at winning. But from a hitter's standpoint, Gavin Lux. Last year, he came up really slow to the scene, played a few games, and then was sent down to the taxi squad, basically, and never really played again. Hit 315 in spring, and he started off 2 for 4 for the season, got an RBI. I have high expectations for Lux this year. I hope it's his breakout year because I think he's a big part of this Dodgers team and can help lead them back to a World Series championship. George, I guess I'll ask you this. Who is one X factor? Who's going to be the X factor on the Dodgers if they're going to repeat?
Okay, this is a loaded question. I mean, there's just so many names.
There are. Yeah.
I don't know. This kind of stumped me. Like when you sent me the rundown, I'm just like, who is gonna? I don't know. I'm still stumped. I'm assuming it's gonna have to be an offensive player, just because
it doesn't have to be. It can be an arm. Because there's an arm. There's two arms you could say that are huge X factors in my opinion.
Do you want to name them first? Because I'm still stumped.
Yeah, sure.
I know
Liz,
you
do
asked
have,
me.
no, Liz, do you have your X factor for the Dodgers?
Again, I think there's a lot of players that are really gonna pull through and are like really shining right now. Of course, I gotta go with my guy Seegers. He is doing really great, especially during spring, and then now I feel like he's really gonna come through this season.
Okay.
What you mentioned also, I think Gavin Lux. I think this is going to be also a great season for Lux to really show everybody what he has to offer. And I think Trevor Bauer. I think with him, I think with Kershaw, I think with Bueller, I think those three are really going to shine as pitchers, and I think they're going to be a huge part of driving the team into the World Series.
Yeah. So, all right, yeah, there's a lot of the names right there for X factors, but yeah, I mean, we'll get into the deep rotation in a second, but my X factor, so I'll give you a hitter and an arm.
Okay.
Gavin Lux is one of mine, but my other hitter I'll have is Chris Taylor. Chris Taylor he hit 350 in spring. He's playing today. They had him playing left field, so Pollock was the guy off the bench, which he had a slow spring, so it makes sense. But I think if Chris Taylor, because the Dodgers won the World Series last year with Muncy and Bellinger having down seasons.
Yeah.
And you had Betts and Turner who were awful against lefties. So, I mean, those guys don't need to be perfect on the field. I think if Chris Taylor steps up and, hits 275, 280 and provides a little bit of power, he did have, I think, 5 or 6 homers in spring. If he brings that to the table, I mean, that's a guy that's going to be at the bottom of the lineup that provides, hits and power would be great for the Dodgers. The arm I'll throw out is someone who is very criticized to Dodger fans, but I think if he has a good season, this bullpen is lights out. And that's our favorite closer in the league, Kenley Jansen. Oh, I know. So, yes, he had a very bad season, a bad World Series. But and I still believe there is 2016 Jansen in him. If that Jansen comes back, like that bullpen with him, Kelly, Gratterall, you have Knebel, you have Nelson, you have, Victor Gonzalez, you have David Price. You have so many names, and it gets deeper and deeper. I'm sure I forgot a few. Dylan Floro, there's one.
How could you forget the Astro killer, Joe Kelly?
I said Joe Kelly.
Oh, you did?
Kelly.
Oops.
He was the first one. I said Kelly and my favorite reliever, the Bazooka.
Sorry. I'm still trying to find who I want to say, so I must have.
No, you're good. You're good.
Spaced out.
But yeah, I think if Jansen comes back and has a good season, I don't care if he's the closer, if he's an 8th inning guy. I just want him to have a better season. It is the final year of his contract, so I don't know. Maybe he trained extra hard this offseason. I don't know. I know he did have COVID issues last year, so
yeah.
But hopefully he comes back and has a better year. As much as he's criticized, I love him as a pitcher. He has been the closest thing to Mariano Rivera since Mariano Rivera. So I hope he comes back and bounces back, but seems unlikely, but I hope he does. George, you got your X factor?
Yeah, so I'm kind of going to piggyback off of what you said. I'm going to go with Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin. They had really, really rough postseasons. Dustin May had like a +4 ERA, and Gonsolin might have been in the double digits. I mean, he kind of got lit up a lot, and I think that would shore up the bullpen a lot more, and you could also throw them out to even start a game. And, in a wild card game, or I don't know if they're bringing back. Are they bringing back the expanded playoffs, or no? That was just for last season.
No, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, they did not.
Because there's just some games where your starter gets lit up, and boom, it's the 2nd or 3rd inning, and you need the guys that can go 3-4 innings, and those are going to be May and Gonsolin. And just the Achilles heel of this team in the past was the bullpen, and if those guys are going to be in the pen in the postseason, you're going to need at least dominant performances from them, 2-3 ERA.
Yeah, for sure. Those are, So let's get into this deep Dodgers rotation now. So Kershaw is going to be the 1 starter. Then you have Bauer as your 2, Buehler's your 3rd. Urias is your 3rd. So Buehler's 4th. So Buehler's 4th in the rotation. I don't know if that's just they want to get a left. I don't know if they want to go righty left. I don't know if that's why they did that. And then Dustin May's your fifth. He won the fifth starter spot. So that's a deep rotation. Dustin May is your fifth starter, and I mean he can be. We've in the regular season he was lights out. Postseason was a different story.
Yeah.
And then your bullpen is Jimmy Nelson, David Price, and Tony Gonsolin, who are all starters on any other MLB roster, including the Padres. Like they would all be a starter on those rosters right now. I mean, how much of an advantage I'll start with you, Liz. How much of an advantage does this rotation give the Dodgers, in the playoffs or just in the regular season being so deep?
I think it gives them a really great advantage. I mean, the fifth one being May. I mean, they're all incredible pitchers right off the bat. I think it'd be like a really great advantage for the Dodgers, and I think if they focus on that, then it will really, like honestly, it will give them back their World Series title. If I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I mean, if you think about it, before I get to you, George, in a playoff series, Kershaw. I mean, I think the rotation will change once the playoffs start. I think when the playoffs start, it'll be Buehler, Bauer, and Kershaw. Like that's your third day starter is Clayton Kershaw. Like that's ridiculously deep. George, what are your thoughts on this Dodgers rotation?
I think we talked about this a little, just like texting back and forth. In an NLDS where it's best of 5, you could see Kershaw, Buehler, and Bauer, and that's it, and never see like a subpar guy. And then those guys can all go 7 innings, and then you bring in Jansen to set up, or Urias and Kelly, and I mean you might not get more than 5 runs in the whole series. So it just we've seen just from any team in the postseason, a reason they lose or just go home early, their starters can't get through, and then it's a bullpen game. And when you get into those bullpen games in game 4, game 5, game 6 of those series, it catches up to you. Then you get to game 6 or game 7 when you're down 3-2 or it's 3-3 in a game 7 and you don't have any arms. And those batters are just licking their chops, ready to take those guys out the game and send them home.
Yeah, it's going to be a big advantage for them to have those 3 as your 1, 2, and 3. You've mentioned a few times Urias, you like him out of the bullpen. He is the day 3 starter though for the Dodgers. He closed out the NLCS, pitched 3 innings, didn't give up a run. Cleaned up the World Series, pitched 3 innings, didn't give up a run, and looked efficient. I mean, he was 3 pitches, strike 3, you're done. And I mean, throughout the playoffs and even in the regular season, he had a great regular season. I just want to ask you, George, and then I'll ask the same question to you, Liz, do you like Urias as a starter or as someone out of the bullpen?
Well, for the regular season, I don't have a problem with it. I'd probably like to see him more out of the bullpen come postseason. I mean, just in the past, we've had Maeda switched. He was in the regular season rotation, and then he went to the bullpen. I think that was about 2 or 3 years ago. So we've seen it before, and guys like Kershaw's most notably have done it. He comes out of the bullpen too. So having that flexibility is the biggest key. I have no problem with him being a regular season starter as long as he's healthy come postseason. So I don't necessarily want him to be like, an every day 3 starter in a series. I'd hope they'd switch it up, maybe throw like a Gonsolin in and just give him scheduled off days. I don't know how Dave's going to handle that, but it's a good thing. It's a good problem to have when you have that many good arms. Yeah. So no, he's fine for the regular season rotation. Okay,
before I ask you this, I just want to ask George this. So you like Urias out of the bullpen in the postseason.
Yeah.
So in a 7-game series, you really do need 4 arms starting, in my opinion. So who would be that day 4 starter for you? Because it's obviously Bauer, Buehler, Kershaw. So who's that day 4 starter? Who do you think it'd be?
Give me David Price. Give me the guy who's been there and done it before. And I mean, game 4s are pretty decisive. If you're down 2-1, you don't want to go down 3-1, or if you're up 2-1, you want to go up 3-1. So that's a very pivotal game, as well as like a game 5 too. If it's 2-2, So yeah, give me the experience, give me him there, and then worst case scenario, if he has a rough game, you can bring Urias to eat like 4 innings. So I like how we did that last postseason.
Yeah. I would be okay with David Price. He does have the experience. It has not been good experience except for that postseason run in 2018 with Boston, which was granted that was the last time he was in the postseason, and he pitched well. But prior to that, it wasn't very good experience. So I think for Game 4, I would like a Price and May kind of backing up each other, maybe doing something like that, possibly. But I'm okay with that. I don't know. I kind of side with you. I think in the postseason, I'd like to see Urias out of the bullpen. I guess I just want to see how he does as a starter this season, maybe before we give that more thought. But Liz, what's up?
I just think I think he's a really valuable arm to have late game, and I would kind of be disappointed if he got roughed up in the first 5 innings, gives up 3 or 4 runs, then that's that. But I mean, if he goes great for 6-7 innings and then you bring a reliever in and boom, gives up a 3-run lead,
Yeah. No, I'm with you. His stuff is more electric when he comes out of the bullpen. His fastball is fast. Everything's faster when he comes out of the bullpen, which is a common theme with most pitchers when that happens. But I'd agree with you. I think late game situation, he's the perfect guy. Liz, in the playoffs, would you rather see Urias as a starter or coming out of the bullpen?
I mean, personally, I really like him out of the bullpen. I think he really produces a really great end game. But I wouldn't mind actually seeing him, in the beginning. I think it'd be starting. I think it'd be really interesting how he would handle that.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I want to see how he does in the regular season because last year he got a couple of starts, but he wasn't a full-time starter. This year, they're giving him the full-time starter role. So I guess I just want to see how that looks again and if the velocity's still there. But yeah, as that setup guy or even, closer, really that would be nice to have Urias and, someone you can kind of rely on in the bullpen. Yeah, so that's a pretty good, I think, breakdown of the Dodgers. George, is there anything else you want to add about the team before we move on?
100+ wins upcoming.
Okay, 100+.
Let's see it.
Alyssa, anything to add from you?
Let's just hope they have a good season. No, not even hope. I have a feeling that they're going to have a good season.
Well, I hope they do too because they spent a lot of money.
Oh, yes, they did.
So there's our Dodgers talk. They'll still be sprinkled in a little bit here because there's some coexisting with stuff with that. But first we're going to start in the National League. And simple question here. Which team has the best odds to knock off the Dodgers in the playoffs?
So I'm going to go with the team that was 1 game away from knocking us off in the playoffs, the Atlanta Braves. And they didn't really make any big changes, which they didn't need to do. But one move I really liked was bringing in Charlie Morton from the Rays, who had a lot of experience with them. Won with the Astros in 2017. I'm going to put the air quotes because they cheated, but he's 37, a little bit old, but he had a good ERA in the postseason. And I envision him as their day 3 starter because they have Max Fried. I forgot who the other guy was that they used, but he's good too. And they have a guy coming off injury. They brought back Ozuna. They have really good bats. They were killing our pitching, and I just feel like
Ozuna,
he's a monster. And so I have them. There's I'm not gonna say the Padres, but yeah, I think I really like them. I liked them coming out of the NL last season. I thought they had a little bit more than us, but we prevailed. So I'm gonna roll it with them. Okay.
So I definitely agree on the Braves. If there was a team, the Padres. Here's where I am with that. I'm not worried about them this year. I'm worried about them next year because they're missing Mike Clevenger all season. So that's already that's going to be a significant loss to the rotation. If he comes back with everyone else, and you also have Lamet, their other key starter who had a breakout year last year, he is also going to be out for a lot of the season this year. He got injured. I think it was in spring training he got injured. But Martin's their day 2 starter for Atlanta. Interesting. Who's their day 3? Wait, Ian Anderson.
I thought if they put him over him then, because he was their day 2 last season, I would have thought it was the same.
Yeah. Oh, and anyways, with the Padres though, I'm more worried about them next year than this year. This year they're still going to be really good. I still think the Dodgers have a big advantage over them. But I guess to name a different team in the NL than the Braves, and this comes with a grain of salt, is the Mets. They signed Francisco Lindor. They still have Pete Alonso. They have
Polar
DeGrom.
bear.
Yeah, they have DeGrom and Syndergaard. They lost Steven Matz, which we'll talk about when we talk about my second favorite team, the Blue Jays, because he's a Blue Jay now, and he had a damn good spring. But so they lost some arms. Their bullpen has never been reliable. It's still not reliable. But you get into a playoff series, anything can happen. The Mets have beaten the Dodgers before in the playoffs, so if I'm picking a team out of the NL, I think the Braves have the best chance, but I think the Mets could knock them off too. So but I still think the Dodgers won't have an issue with either of those teams. But there's still a lot of season, and anything can happen in a 7-game series
For sure.
Yeah, but moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about the AL. The AL pennant winners were the Tampa Bay Rays. They lost Blake Snell. They lost Charlie Morton. They have Randy Arozarena still. They lost Nate Lau as well. I think they lost Jose Alvarado. So they lost a lot of significant names on this team. So my question to you, George, are the Rays still the team to beat in the American League?
Unfortunately, they're not. And I know when you win the pennant, you kind of get the benefit of the doubt, like you're still the team to beat. I had two teams, but then I realized I know which one you're gonna take. So I'm gonna go with one who my friend is gonna love this. I think the Chicago White Sox are up there to make a pennant run. They have reigning MVP Jose Abreu.
Yep.
Tim Anderson is a wonderful shortstop. Giolito, he could be a Cy Young winner this season. And they added Liam Hendricks from the A's, their closer, who was very dominant in that series that they beat the White Sox. So they shored up their bullpen. They got all their guys coming back. They had like the second best offense outside of the Dodgers last season. They hit just about as many home runs as us. So
yeah,
they're very young, and they're only going to get more experience and better from up here. So it could be a little biased of a pick, but I think they're a dark horse for sure. So I'm gonna roll with them.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely do like that. I do like the White Sox a lot, Costa. I do like the White Sox a lot. So Eloy Jimenez is out 5 to 6 months for them.
That's right. I saw that.
That's a big blow to them. But yeah, the White Sox are a very talented team. But to answer the question, no, the Rays are not the team to beat in the AL anymore. They're not even the team to beat in the AL East, in my opinion. I'm coming in with some hot fire. I know.
Let's
I'm
do
coming
it.
in with some hot
Let's
fire.
do it.
So the AL is so like interesting for me because there's not really like a big clear favorite.
Yeah.
The White Sox like kind of are, but like kind of not at the same time, just because they don't have a lot of experience. And I don't know how the dynamic of Tony La Russa and those young guys are going to work.
Very old manager for a very young core team.
Exactly. But I think it's a team in the same division as the White Sox.
Oh.
It's the Twins.
Oh, dude, they haven't won a series in so long.
They haven't won they've lost 18 straight playoff series.
I know. I know.
And that's going to change this year.
You better hope.
I'm not sure if they get and win a pennant, but I think they're the team to beat in the AL.
Okay.
They have Byron Buxton, Max Kepler, Kenta Maeda, Jose Barrios, Josh Donaldson. He did get injured today, though, which that sucks. Nelson Cruz.
Don't forget the DH, Nelson Cruz. Yep.
Nelson Cruz, the human hit stick, man. That guy crushes balls. And they have a nice catcher combo, Jeffers and Mitch Garver. So two young and up-and-coming catchers. They have a decent to good bullpen. They did blow a game today against the Brewers, but I think it's the Twins, the team to beat in the American League.
Okay.
It's going to be such a good race, though, between the White Sox and the Twins, between those two teams. But, I mean, Yeah, the Rays, they lost a lot, which really worries me, I guess, for this season. I mean, where do you have the Rays finishing? Like, how far do you think they go this year?
I think they make the playoffs, but I mean, it's going to be probably a wild card spot for them.
Mm.
And I don't even think they make it out the first weekend. It's just pitching is so important in that postseason, especially because we've seen, I mean, Trevor Bauer lost, his team lost, and he had what, 17 strikeouts?
He threw 8 or 9 shutout innings and they lost.
Yeah, so they lost Blake Snell. Their manager doesn't know how to properly do rotations. Kevin Cash lost Morton. I guess really like their silver lining is how great Arozarena is. If he has a season like he did in the postseason, they could probably win a series or two just off of him. So yeah. I don't have hope for them. I thought if they brought everyone back that they probably could have won again, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah, it was who's replacing these guys isn't up to that caliber. It's Michael Wacha and Chris Archer.
Oh, this isn't. Yeah, if this was like 2014, that would be a good rotation,
right? Exactly. Yeah. So they have Ryan Yarbrough, who's gonna be. I mean, him and Glass now are gonna have to put on a big load for this rotation.
I'm not a fan of Glass now, honestly. We beat him up when we played him.
He showed signs of issues last year. He showed a lot that no one had even seen from him. He was lights out against the Yankees.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers exposed him in the World Series. So I hope he bounces back. I like him as a player, but there are some things I have questions about with him. Austin Meadows had a really down season as well, so he's looking to bounce back. But yeah, I have the Rays as a wild card. What's up?
Huh? I didn't say anything.
Oh, you look like you're about to say something. My bad. Yeah, so I think it's gonna be they'll make the playoffs. I don't know if they get out of the wild card round though, because that's a one game winner take all, and so I think they make the wild card. I don't know how far they go though. Kind of sticking with this AL theme, I got to talk about my second favorite team. I know I'm throwing this on. I know I didn't text you this, but we're going to talk about the Blue Jays.
I prepared.
Yes, sir. The Blue Jays today, opening day victory against the Yankees, winning 3-2 in extra innings. So first I'm going to start with you, Liz, because I know you know some Blue Jays stuff. What excites you most about the Blue Jays this year?
First off, I just want to talk about Vlad Jr.
Yes.
I mean, he has lost a ton of weight, and it's incredible. And I think we're gonna see. I don't know. I think it's gonna be a really good season for him. Right off the bat, I think it's gonna be a really good season for him.
Yeah, he went. I think he went 1 for 2 today with 2 walks, and his one hit was 115 miles off the bat. Yeah, wow. Smoked it up the middle. Yeah, he lost 40 pounds working out in the Dominican Republic this offseason.
Good for him.
I follow him on Instagram just because he's one of my favorite guys. But yeah, that dude put in work. Like, I don't know like how many hours of sleep he got. It wasn't much because he was always working out. So good for him getting off a lot of that weight, and I'm excited for him as well. But George, what do you like about this Blue Jays team?
They're going to have a very dynamic offense, not only with Vlad Jr. and Bo. They brought in George Springer, who is a very, very good offensive player, even though I don't like him. Sadly, I don't like any former or current Astros player. They also, a very underrated signing, Marcus Semien. I wanted the Dodgers to get him if we didn't re-sign Turner. He's kind of like a not utility, but he can play a lot of positions in the infield, which the Dodgers have always welcomed. And then pitching, lastly, they brought in Robbie Ray. They brought in Kirby Yates, who I like out of the pen, David Phelps, and Tyler Chatwood. That is very, very solid pen strength. On top of already having Hyunjin Ryu and a bunch of other guys. Who is their closer?
So it was supposed to be Kirby Yates.
Okay.
He actually had Tommy John complications. He's missing all season.
Whoops.
Yeah, he's missing all season. That got announced like last week. So their closer is expected to be Jordan Romano.
Okay.
He has a filthy slider, throws 100 miles per hour. He looked a little shaky today against the Yankees, but got out of the ninth inning. He didn't get the save in the 10th. They brought in. So hang on, I gotta find his name, but he did not. Hang on, let me find his name for you because when I tell you about him, you're gonna be like, oh God, this guy, Julian Merriweather. So he was like one of the last roster spots added to the Blue Jays. Only pitched like 2 spring games because of injury. He comes in, he throws a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, and then he drops a 79-mile-per-hour changeup on you. There is a 21-mile-per-hour difference, and he struck out the side in the 10th against the Yankees, and it wasn't like the 7, 8, 9 hitters. He struck out Hicks, Stanton, and Torres.
Well,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Okay.
So it's probably going to be him and Romano are going to be the closer.
Yeah, and I also forgot to add that which you addressed earlier, the trade for Mats is also another guy that they can use in their rotation.
Yeah.
So they did a lot of work because their offense was already pretty good. They did a lot of work to bring in good arms for their pitching rotation and bullpen.
Yeah. So they addressed that. Their starting rotation towards the back end gets a little bit shaky. So you have Ryu as your one, it's you have Stripling, you have Matt
Chicken strip.
Chicken Strip. You have Matt's. You have Ryan Baroque,
Okay.
who's a young guy. Another young guy. He's injured at the moment, but Nate Pearson.
Yeah.
He was like a number 3 prospect. He played the 60-game season, got in halfway through, pitched pretty well. He also got some postseason experience, which I think is going to be a key for this Blue Jays team. Is they made the playoffs last year, which I said they would, and they did. They did lose to the Rays, got swept in the wild card, but it's, you have Kevin Biggio, Bo Bichette, Vlad Jr., your young guys. Rowdy Tellez is another young guy on that team who I really like. You have a catcher, Alejandro Kirk. You're going to want to remember his name because he's like 5'7", and he's got a heavy set build, but the dude mashes the ball. He's working on the defensive part of catching. But he's a good catcher, and the bullpen is going to be without Kirby Yates. It's a big blow because before that, I thought they were going to have a pretty solid bullpen. But it's every team in the AL besides the White Sox and the Twins, they have a shaky bullpen, and every team in the AL, which is going to be interesting in the playoffs. Because the bullpen is really where you make or break. So it's going to be like, which bullpen's going to show up tonight? It's going to be kind of the theme, which is going to be really interesting in my opinion.
So, yeah, like I said, I was reading this article about the Jays. Simeon's going to play second because they didn't want to disrupt Bichette at short. So, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so they had Simeon play second. He made a nice play today. And then they have Biggio at third, which he's normally second and then a little bit of left field. They put Yuli Gurriel, who plays basically everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They put him in left because Springer's actually injured at the moment. He can come back. He can come back for the home opener on the 8th of April, I believe, is their home opener against the Angels. So, but yeah, they have a lot of power on that offense. So hopefully the pitching doesn't need to be too good. Like they can get away with decent pitching with this dynamic offense. But I'm excited for the Blue Jays and, the young guys getting experience in the playoffs and growing more mature, as a team. But very underrated offseason for them, I think. And the AL East, very competitive. But we're going to get into some award predictions. George is ready.
I don't know. They might not be that bold, so
it's okay. They don't have to be bold. Just who you think. So first, we're going to start out in the National League. So who is your pick to win the Cy Young Award?
Little bit homer here, and I don't know now that you said he might be fourth, but I think this is Walker Buehler's I'm here now. I know his postseason ERA has been phenomenal, and I know there's a lot of arms, but I think he's been worthy a lot of the time. But this might, and you know, Kershaw's always been like opening day starter and always been the one. I think this is his time where he's going to be like, come postseason, I'm the number one of this team. So,
Oh, okay.
that's what I think.
Okay. Interesting pick there. Okay. Yeah, I like Bueller. I think he is a good pick. I don't want to go like DeGrom is a pretty obvious pick, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna win it this year.
Okay.
It's gonna be someone I think they're in the same division. I think it's gonna be Aaron Nola of the Phillies. He has always been on the brink of being a great pitcher.
Mhm.
And he's always had good stats, but I think this is the year he kind of puts it all together. And takes home the Cy Young Award. So I think it's gonna be Aaron Nola, but I would not be surprised if it's a Dodger either Bauer or Bueller. Liz, if you had to choose between Trevor Bauer and Walker Bueller, who do you say has better odds to win the Cy Young?
I like Bueller. I think
Okay.
he's a very strong
Bueller.
pitcher, and I think I really enjoy watching Bueller pitch.
And obviously with George's pick, Bauer over Bueller over Bauer. Okay. NL MVP pick now. George, who is your most valuable player?
The 22-year-old who, ever since we lost to this team in the postseason, I have been rooting to win MVP. Juan Soto of the Nationals. He's a phenomenal hitter, and I could have gone Tatis here. I think that one might be like the most trendy, popular one, just because of the season he had last year. But I think Soto has been phenomenal for only being his age, and he's very underrated too. People, just in terms of young talent, you know, you're hearing about the Bellies, obviously, the Yelich's, the Trout is a little bit older now, and then Tatis got all the fame last season. But honestly, I think Soto is just as good as Tatis, but he doesn't get the notoriety for it.
Yeah, NL MVP. So I like the Soto pick. I'm going with a young guy as well. Plays the outfield, but he plays it for the Braves. I like Ronald Acuna Jr.
I was thinking about him, yeah.
So with Acuna Jr., he was, I think it was 2 years ago during the 162, he almost had a 30-30 season, which 30 homers, 30 stolen bases.
Yeah.
Which is really hard to do in today's baseball, really, to be that powerful and that fast. So I like Ronald Acuna Jr. Soto's a good pick. I think there's about 4 Dodgers you could pick. I mean, Betts, Bellinger, Seager.
Maybe even Muncy if he can be consistent. I mean, I said coming into last season, Seager was like my trendy pick, and then he obviously got the most important MVP in the postseason, so I was fine. Yeah. And just this season, I mean, with the spring training he had, it's definitely there, but there's just a lot of good talent here, and I don't know if that might be like, you know, you can't have 2 guys in the top MVP voting for this team, so they're just going to go with a Soto, or one guy who is, I don't even know if people are talking about him potentially being MVP, Polar Bear Pete Alonso.
That's a good pick.
He had 50 home runs his rookie year or something crazy like that.
Yeah, 50. I mean, 50 sounds right.
If he could recreate something like that, because I know the Mets are kind of pretty hyped up right now, I think he could get some love.
Okay. I like those picks. Those are all great picks. Moving on to the American League, the AL. First, we'll start off with Cy Young.
I don't even. I didn't. Okay, wait. Hold on a second. Sorry.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I just blanked out. I forgot it. I have it written down. Hold on.
No,
you can go first though.
Okay. I'm gonna go with your White Sox pitcher that you mentioned earlier, Lucas Giolito. Dude's got lights out stuff. 2019 was a down year for him, so I do have worries about that coming back in a full 162 now. But the way he performed in the playoffs and last year in a short season, pitched well. Hopefully he keeps it up for a whole 162, but I think my pick is Lucas Giolito for AL Cy Young.
So I was thinking about going with him, and I hyped him up, but I don't know. The Sox to me are either going to be a team that overachieves or just completely falls flat. So I'm not going to go with Giolito. I'm going to go with Garrett Cole, who's had 3 top 5 finishes. I know the Yankee, not fun. They're looking for their first Cy Young since I believe Roger Clemens. Do I have that right? Yeah, in 2001. So
sounds right.
and he's been dominant. And the Yankees had a lot of injury problems last season, and his ERA was like 2.5, which isn't totally Cy Young worthy, but he's been in the conversation a lot, and I think this might be his year because he's still looking for his first for being, a really, really dominant pitcher.
Okay, I'm going to throw out a quick name that I think might be in this conversation depending on the year he has, and he can be thrown into MVP and Cy Young.
Ooh.
Shohei Ohtani.
Okay.
So he had a good spring. He got roughed up against the Dodgers, but I mean, what pitcher doesn't get roughed up against the Dodgers? So, but other than that, he had a good spring, had a great bat. Arm was okay. But he is a X factor for the Angels. We're going to get into a little bit of I'll get into a little bit of Angels talk, but in a second here. But Shohei Ohtani, a name to look out for the Cy Young, as a dark horse, I think. But AL MVP, George, who is your favorite to win the MVP?
I unfortunately now have to go with the boring pick that everybody's going to talk about, Mike Trout. The guy's one of the best of our generation, if not up there all time. And I saw a funny thing on MLB Network earlier in the week. It's like, when in doubt, go with Trout. So
yeah,
pretty easy there.
Yeah. Liz, question for you here. If you had to choose between taking Mike Trout as the AL MVP or the rest of the players in the American League, are you taking the field or Mike Trout?
That's a hard question.
What do you...
I mean, Mike Trout is really good, but...
I mean, he might go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest player ever.
If I feel like I don't say Mike Trout, then I'm just going to be like the worst human being ever.
I'm not saying Mike Trout.
Oh, really? Oh, I want to hear you then.
Okay. Oh, you want... Okay.
I do.
So I have a few AL players who can overthrow Trout as the American League MVP. I think, again, this is the White Sox hit or miss. Tim Anderson could be in the conversation, I think.
Okay.
Tim Anderson. And I'm going to, and they're part of my bold prediction, if the Blue Jays win the AL East, George Springer will be the MVP.
No.
Nice. I know it's the pick. I didn't want to say it, but I think he is going to be the key, and I'll get into it more later. I think he will win the AL MVP. So my official pick is George Springer.
Okay.
I think George, I don't know how much he had to contribute to the cheating thing with Houston. I feel like it was more like
Altuve and Bregman.
I think it was Correa and Bregman.
Oh, Correa's the worst. Correa's the absolute worst.
I think it was Correa, Bregman, and I feel like a little bit Brantley, but he just kind of didn't talk about it. I feel like Brantley too, which is why I think that's why he stayed with Houston. But
yeah.
I think Springer has a good shot at winning AL MVP. But Mike Trout's always a great pick. I mean, you can never go wrong with Trout. I wouldn't be surprised if he won it. That's all I got for that. It's always Mike Trout, but I feel like he might have the Giannis effect of he always wins it. We need to give it to someone else. I
don't know though. I don't know if the voter fatigue is as prevalent in MLB as it is in NBA. NBA has a lot of narratives around it. That's just how the media works.
Yeah.
In baseball, I don't think as much. I
agree. I agree with you on that front because, I mean, if we're being honest, LeBron's been the MVP for
exactly
10 straight years, but
and Trout has 4. So I mean, at that point, he won back-to-back in 18 and 19. So I don't really think at that point, especially because he had one in 14 and 16, I believe. So after those 3, if there was really a voter fatigue or we're not going to give it to him, it would have been to not give it to him in 19.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. So now I got this for you. So the MLB playoffs is being being put back down to 5 teams.
Okay.
Compared to the 8 teams last year. Personally, me. First I'll start with you, Liz. Did you like the 8-team playoff? So there was the extra round, best of 3 series. No one got a bye. With a 5-team playoff, there's going to be a 1-win wild card game, and then they have to play the one team, the best team, and who had the best record in that league. So, do you like 5 teams or 8 teams getting into the playoffs?
I like 8 teams. I like
teams.
I like that a little bit more.
Okay, George, did you like the 5 or the 8?
I'm gonna have to agree with Alissa here. I do like the 8-team scenario. I think only Miami advanced, right? For like an added team. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks. Oh, okay, yeah. So it brings like more parity. It's more of like, and it's only a 2-game series. It's best of 2. It's best of 3, right?
3, so
you have to win 2. And at that point, you could go, 2 games. You could just have 2 really bad games, and boom, you're done. We've seen teams go down 2-0 and then come back and win the series. So I like it a lot more. There's a lot of parity, and hey, more playoff baseball. Why not?
That's true.
I agree with you guys. So the reason it didn't get extended is that if nobody knows, the CBA agreement is up at the end of this year for the MLB, and the Players Association and owners are very far apart at the moment. Like,
yeah.
They hate you. Like, there's a legit talk of a strike next season, and yeah, and it's the legit talk that the season might be delayed a little bit because of a players' strike. Which I always side with the players in these situations.
Yeah.
So I love the 8-team playoff. You saw it with the Padres last year. They lost the first game, and then they had a great comeback in game 2, and then won game 3. So yeah, anything can happen in those series. I also like more teams in the playoffs. You get these younger teams getting playoff experience, like the Blue Jays, like the Marlins. You have these teams that weren't expected to do this, and they get these guys some playoff experience, which I always love that. I think 8's a good number. So that's 16 out of the 30 teams making it, or 28, 30, 28.
I think it's 30.
There's 28 or 30. Making the playoffs, I'm okay with that. The 5, it's just so limited. But so with that, with it going down to 5 teams, George, do you see first in the National League? Do you see any team that missed the playoffs last year getting in this year?
NL. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. Not really, and especially because there was 8 last. Oh,
wait. There's one big one out there.
I must be. Oh, the Mets. Whoops. Yeah, the Mets. That's probably my only one then.
Okay.
But there's gonna be some teams that made it last season that are gonna miss, obviously.
Yeah. So the NL is easier for me than the AL. The NL, it's the Mets as well.
Yeah.
The NL Central is so like, there's no favorite. A lot of people say the Cardinals. I'm not trusted on the Cardinals yet. Every team in that division, the Cubs are kind of rebuilding. Hell, maybe the Marlins do it again. Or no, they're in the NL East, so it can't be the Marlins in that division. And then the Cubs and Brewers too. But in the NL, I think the Mets will get in.
Yeah.
But I don't see any other team that wasn't in last year not getting in. I think the Cubs will be the team out, obviously, and probably Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about the AL? Do you have a team in the American League that wasn't in last year getting in this year?
This could be interesting. I don't know. How good are the Mariners?
They suck.
They suck? Okay, that's what I thought.
They're gonna be 3rd or 4th in the division.
You know what? Maybe this is the Angels' year. They finally get in after.
Damn you for taking my pick. Damn you, George.
Whoopsie daisies.
Yes, they're one of my surprise picks. Because I don't trust Houston. The A's lost Liam Hendricks and Marcus Semien. Those are big names. Matt Olson, he needs to have a comeback year. I think the Angels, it's going to be how well Ohtani plays. Because Trout's going to do Trout. Rendon's going to have a good year. It's going to
Yeah.
be on the pitching and Otani, I think. But other than that, I don't see any other teams. Boston is they could be in. So, okay. So hang on. I know. George is making a face for the people listening on Spotify. George is making a face at me. So you had down seasons from Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers, both young, both going to have better years. No Chris Sale, no Eduardo Rodriguez. You're getting both of those back. That's your 1-2 pitcher. The bullpen still has questions, but so does every AL team. Verdugo's looking like a star. And Kike had a good spring, and he's going to have a good year with them. So, and you have Alex Cora as your manager. He's back. Yeah. So Boston might be able to sneak in, but the AL East is so competitive. I don't know where they finish with all those good teams in that division. I mean, everyone really but the Orioles basically is good in that division. But Boston maybe, but I think unlikely. So to end the episode, we're going to do some bold predictions here. Oh. So we're going to do one bold Dodgers prediction, one bold American League prediction, one bold American League, and one National League prediction. So let's start off with our Dodgers bold prediction. George, would you like to go first?
Would I don't know. There's just a lot that I think I'm gonna take a pass on this for right now. I gotta think of which one I want.
Alissa, do you have a bold prediction for the Dodgers this year?
I'm in the same boat as George. I honestly have. There's a lot of good players out there. Like you go first, Josh.
All right, I don't know how bold this is. Max Muncy leads the team in home runs.
That's very interesting.
That's an interesting one.
I think I think like Bellinger and Seager have great years. I think they're all going to be in the 30s, but I think Muncy's going to like last game of the year is going to like pop like number 38 or 39. So Max Muncy leads the Dodgers in home runs is my bold prediction.
Okay. Let's see here. This one is crazy that I just thought of. Since Gavin Lux is probably going to get the starting second role now that Kike's gone, I think he's going to make the All-Star team.
Oh, I love it. Love it. Oh, I love that pick right there. Please make that happen, Gavin. Liz, do you have your bold prediction yet?
I honestly have no idea. Those are two good predictions.
I mean, what's something like, it doesn't have to be, something that, is kind of bold, Dustin May leads the team in wins, something, or I don't know. Kenley Jansen leads the league in saves, something crazy.
Let's hope Jansen does that. Jansen does that.
Do you got a bold one for me or no?
I don't think so. I don't honestly know.
Okay. All right. That's fine. All right. So those are our Dodger bold predictions. Well, now let's go to the American League. George, do you have a bold prediction for anything in the American League?
I don't know. Is saying the White Sox make the World Series bold enough for you? That's what I want. That's what I want to go with.
Okay. Liz, do you have a bold prediction for the American League?
No, I honestly don't.
Okay. I got one. The Blue Jays will win the AL East. And wait. I'm not done there. They will make the ALCS.
Okay. I like that. That's strong enough.
The last time they did win a division, they went to the ALCS when Jose Bautista had his historic home run against the Rangers. Well, that was in the DS, but they made it to the CS that year and lost. But yeah. So that's my AL prediction. So now in the National Leagues, this is going to be like a non-Dodgers take. George, you have a bold prediction in the National League.
A Padres pitcher wins the Cy Young.
Ooh.
So either Darvish or Snell. Ooh. I don't know which one, but I'm going to go with that.
I like that. I mean, hey, honestly, you got to throw in Joe Musgrove as well, I think. He's a guy that could be named. Liz, do you have a National League, like something with the Padres or the Mets or any bold prediction out there for the National League? No?
No.
No?
I
Okay.
don't.
No worries. You're good. You're good. No worries. National League bold prediction here. Okay. All right. A Marlins pitcher finishes top 3 in Cy Young voting.
Wow.
That's very bold.
Okay, you have 3 young starters on that team. Alcantara. I know I fucked up that last name.
Mhm.
Pablo Lopez.
Yeah.
Sicto Sanchez. You have 3 good starters there, and I think 2 of them have good seasons, but I think one of them finishes top 3 in NL Cy Young voting. Yeah. I don't know. I hope the Marlins have another good season. That was fun seeing the Marlins win because it's weird. Yeah. George, any last thoughts to add before we end the pod here?
I don't think so. I can't really think. I guess the one thing I'll leave us off with is the many rivalries Trevor Bauer will certainly be headlined across the season between him and the Mets and him and the Padres and just him and social media, because I know that there's going to be a lot of that come this season. So it's about it.
For sure. Liz, anything to add before we end the pod? Any talk about the Dodgers? Anything you want to add?
I'm excited. I'm excited for the season. I love baseball, and especially Turner. I'm glad he got re-signed, because if he didn't, I would not watch baseball anymore. But I'm excited for the season. I'm super excited.
Okay, yeah, I'm excited for the season. I'm excited to watch the boys in blue hopefully reign as champions. We forgot to do one thing. We're gonna do it right now.
Was the look ahead? Did I forget the look? Because I always forget that in my podcast. I always forget the look ahead.
What's your World Series prediction, George?
Oh, okay. Because I've been asking for it for the past 2 years. Dodgers, Yankees.
Dodgers, Yankees. Alissa, World Series prediction.
Well, obviously the Dodgers.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Take the Blue Jays. Take the Blue Jays. Take the Blue Jays.
The White Sox, the Blue Jays.
Wait, could actually happen? The Blue Jays and Dodgers. Oh, I'm gonna say that Blue Jays and Dodgers. That would be amazing. That would be incredible to watch.
I'd be happy either way with that. I mean, obviously, I'd root for the Dodgers, but I'd be okay if they lost that one. But I will say I want to do an LA matchup, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I'll go Dodgers Twins. Dodgers Twins in the World Series.
You have a lot of faith in the in a team that hasn't won a postseason series in 18 years.
Dude, watch it happen. Watch it happen, man. So that's going to wrap up the pod. I hope you enjoyed the MLB season preview. George, let my listeners know where they can find you on the socials.
Yes, Instagram and Spotify and Twitter, all lowercase TH Hoopers. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings we post, and especially on Twitter and Instagram. If you comment, you'll get a shout out. Please follow us there, and we will shout you out. Trust, because Josh has been shouted out multiple times on the pod.
Yes, sir. Liz, you have a Disney YouTube channel. Where can people find you on Instagram and find your YouTube?
I do. You can find me at Disney with Liss, Liss. Great time, so much fun.
Yeah, if you're a Disney fan, go check it out. Disney with Liz. She posts all of her Loungefly bags, and when we're at the park, she'll post about being at the park too. So, and then you can find me J_sports_podcast. But until next time, this has been Joshua Nowakowski of the J Sports Podcast.